Mitchell, let's, I got a lot of questions I want to get into. We'll get right to it. Can you give us a general overall view of the company?
Sure, yeah. So Global Energy Metals, we're listed on the TSXV, ticker symbol is GEMC. We're also listed on the OTC QB, GBLEF is the symbol.
Okay.
Cobalt focused company. We've been involved in the cobalt space for over 10 years, and we're using that expertise to build a company that provides investors investment exposure to cobalt.
Okay, and that's not totally, I mean, it's very unique, isn't it, to be focused on cobalt for that long?
It is, for sure, and it's funny because we joke about it that, we were 10 years too early, and all of a sudden, the investment community has woken up that cobalt is such a critical component to the battery metal space, and it's really been only in the last couple of years, Tesla and such have really put a spotlight on the supply constraints and the demand requirements moving forward.
So 10 years early, but obviously no regrets.
No regrets. No, we've been able to establish some amazing downstream partners into the cobalt intermediary and downstream chain through partnerships with China, with groups that actually supply Panasonic and supply the BYDs of the world.
Very nice. And we should talk about projects you've got coming up. You've got one in Canada, you've got one in Australia. Can you talk a bit about those two?
Sure, definitely. So first project is a legacy asset that we've held. It's called the Warner Lake Cobalt Project. It's in northwestern Ontario. Primary cobalt asset. It was historically it was producing in the 1940s, slated for production again in the 1990s. We picked it up about 12 years ago, and we're now in the process through our partners, Marquee Resources, an Australian group, who are sole funding $2.5 million of exploration into that project to bring it back to the historic levels.
Very nice.
We also have an Australian project, which is our flagship project. It's called the Millennium Cobalt Project.
Okay.
It's in Mount Isa in Queensland, Australia. Again, primary cobalt, which is very, very rare in scheme of things, given cobalt is usually a byproduct of copper and nickel. So, we like to call it a unicorn. This is a fantastic little asset that we are in the process now of building out and showcasing that it can demonstrate some economic viability moving forward.
And I'm going to assume you've got a fairly busy summer coming up, right?
It's incredibly busy. Work programs on both the Warner Lake asset with our partners Marquee, through our operating partner Hammer Metals in Australia. We're advancing the Millennium asset. We're halfway through a work program, the first phase. We're going to move right into a second phase in Millennium, and that's where the fun begins. The expansion of this program, the showcasing what this opportunity that Millennium presents.
Now, is this going to take up the majority of your company's time this year? I mean, you've got some other things planned for the rest of 2018?
We do. I think there's the company is really acquisition driven. As much as we are looking to develop the Millennium project, we've already announced that we're bringing in two other assets in close vicinity to Millennium, creating a scaled district opportunity. We're looking at other opportunities as well, building that portfolio of cobalt projects that are economic based on cobalt, not on the byproducts with copper and nickel, but on cobalt specifically.
Very nice, and way to get in there early.
Excellent.
10 years earlier.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mitchell. It's Mitchell Smith. He is the President and CEO of Global Energy Metal Corp.
Excellent.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.